Ghost of Yōtei, the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, built entirely on next generation hardware, fully utilising the power of the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. What innovations have they made? What evolutions have they implemented? Well, none really. I mean, it's the same damn game. It's Ghost of Tsushima 2.0. Let's get into it. So Ghost of Yōtei, yesterday we got to see a big chunk of the game. They really showed us some meat of it, the gameplay, new features. We got to see it in all of its glory, and well, there's just this feeling that we've seen it all before, and well, we have seen it all before in Ghost of Tsushima. Like, Ghost of Yōtei is that game. And I'm not saying that necessarily in a way to slander the game. I like Ghost of Tsushima. I got a platinum in Ghost of Tsushima. Look, I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. And I'm not saying more of the same is a bad thing. There is an argument that why fix what's not broken. I get that. But it just... Ghost of Yōtei just shows a massive lack of ambition to me. It shows a lack, there's just not much innovation going on. And when you consider, look, Ghost of Yōtei looks fantastic and beautiful, but so did Ghost of Tsushima. The swordplay looks great. It was also in Ghost of Tsushima though. It has duels, so does Ghost of Tsushima. It has beautiful, wide open, empty, unpopulated areas with beautiful leaves and shit and wind blowing. So did Ghost of Tsushima though. Like, it still has that Ubisoft-esque sort of just going around the map and clearing things and doing things and finding things just like Ghost of Tsushima did. Do you know what I mean? It is, for all intents and purposes, Ghost of Tsushima. Look, and again, I'm not saying I will like Ghost of Yōtei. I will. Why? Because I'm a sucker for vengeance stories, as overused as it is, and unoriginal as the narrative it is. Oh, these people wronged me, I'm going to get vengeance and take out each and every one. It's an easy narrative to get behind. It's a tried and tested formula that just works in a game like this. But, look, listen. Ghost of Tsushima came out on the PS4, right? And it was beautiful back then. And it had flaws back then. And one of the issues I had with it back then is that stealth in Ghost of Tsushima felt like an afterthought rather than a genuine option. Do you know what I mean? I mean, and it sort of made sense because of the character Jin was not really a fan of stealth. He found it very dishonourable to be a blade in the dark. Do you know what I mean? And it made that quite clear early on. And I did like that. So from a character point of view, I never really initiated stealth that much because I thought he wouldn't do that, right? So it sort of made sense. It fit the narrative. I appreciated that. But it was a beautiful game. But a lot of the areas were unpopulated. And it was quite an empty, barren game for a lot of it. And the side missions were quite boring. So it wasn't perfect. But it was fun and enjoyable. So fast forward now to Ghost of Yōtei. Now this is a game that has been created on current gen hardware. So we are an entire generational leap from Ghost of Tsushima's development to Yōtei's development. And I did not see in this video a generational leap. I didn't see the benefits of the extra hardware. It just didn't, I'm not seeing that generational leap. Now, I'm not talking about the visuals, because we're at the point in time now where you don't really see the jump that much. Do you know what I mean? Like, games looked beautiful on the PS4. Games looked beautiful last gen. They look beautiful this gen. Next gen, they'll look beautiful. But it's like Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4 doesn't not look good now. It still looks beautiful even now. So yes, Ghost of Yōtei looks beautiful, but what else is it doing though? Like, are they really evolving the formula on a mechanic level? Like, on a gameplay level, mechanically speaking, it looks the same as Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I'm not seeing anything new. There's a few things I know. The only new thing, which is quite interesting, is the fact that they have the flashback scenes. You now have full control of them. And I'll show you it in a minute just to refresh your memory. But you can just, at the press of a button, go from present time to when she was younger, and the whole environment changes. So you get to see, like, basically time travel and see how things have changed from then to now. And I'm very interested to see how that affects the narrative. Like, when do story beats occur when you do that? Is it going to be a prompt saying, hey, if you switch, something will happen? Or is it just going to be completely organic? So, but apart from that little thing, and in fact, I'll show you it now. This is what I'm talking about, and this is quite cool.
When Atsu returns to her childhood home, with the push of a button, you can experience those cherished times. By giving you the freedom to explore Atsu's past, the wound of her loss becomes personal. It's that pain that pushes her forward.
There's other new things as well. There's this thing where they teamed up with some director, and you can play in this mode which zooms the camera in on combat to make it more visceral, more brutal, with more blood, more mud, and just more violence.
We've partnered with Takeshi Miike, director of 13 Assassins, for a mode that puts the camera closer during combat for a more intense, raw experience, along with increased mud and blood splatter.
For everyone who was going to enjoy hacking and slashing and cutting and tearing people apart with their swords and their dual wielding and the spear and the chain thing, we'll have a good time with it. Now, I'm not saying the combat doesn't look good. It does. And I do appreciate Ghost of Tsushima has always done this, where there's different weapons, different sort of stances, have different effects on different enemies. So it does force you to use your entire arsenal rather than just thinking, I'm going to play the whole game dual wielding, because you can't, because it won't work. But again, everything about Ghost of Yōtei just makes me think that Sony and PlayStation are maybe a bit creatively bankrupt. Like, there's nothing new in this game. And again, I can't overlook that. There is nothing new about this game. It does sort of look a bit like it could have been DLC. Do you know what I mean? It could have been a 20-hour big expansion to Ghost of Tsushima. Do you know what I mean? I'm not seeing a progression enough to be a sequel, and I think that with the fact that they got to make this game an entire new hardware is a shame. But I will say this: the game is going to be good. It's going to be fun. I mean, they did introduce a dog, and I will say, look, anytime you introduce a dog, it's a win. And in this case, we have a wolf that will fight alongside you. I mean, look at this.
Atsu doesn't always fight alone. She'll meet several allies on her hunt, including a mysterious wolf.
And what I did notice about the environment, to its credit, is there's a few scenes where the environment has more life than it did in Sashima, which I'm a big fan of. Like, you'll see the character, she's on the horse, but there's like birds in the air and everything moves and looks a bit more realistic. Things are free flowing. There's more wildlife in the environment than before.
That's right.
I mean, maybe there is more populated areas and we just didn't see it in this vertical slice presentation, in which case the criticism is invalid. But I can only talk about what I saw, and again, everything just looks very samey. It just looks like the game I've played tons of already, and I'm just not seeing any real innovations outside of a few little things. Here's the dog. Here's a thing where you can control your own flashback scenes. Here's, look, you can zoom the camera in a bit more, and hey, did you know you can listen to some funky lo-fi while you're playing? Like, oh, what else do we have? You can have Japanese subtitles. Well, of course, I was going to do that anyway. That's not a feature. Like, how can you advertise in-house game based in Japan? You can play it with Japanese audio and English subtitles. That's not a feature. That should be standard anyway. Like, but yeah, Ghost of Yōtei, what did you think of it? Again, I just think we've not had a big Sony first-party game in such a long time. I expected a true evolution of the formula. And I touched on stealth a bit ago, and I didn't really follow it up. I'm really hoping that the stealth is better. They hinted that it was. They suggested that it was. Said that playstyles are a much bigger thing in this one. You can be melee-focused, ranged-focused, or stealth-focused. And I will play the stealth-focused build. And I just hope that the game has greater stealth mechanics than it had in the last one, because stealth in the last one sucked. It was bad. The AI was stupid. Like, the guards were so dumb and dim-witted that it just didn't feel like stealth. Like, it was ridiculous. So I'm hoping the stealth is at least passable to make a stealth build a plausible way to play. But let me know what you think. Again, I'm getting it. I will be buying it. I'll be playing it day one. Because I was a fan of the last one, I want to play it. I am looking forward to it, but it's still much more of the same, and I feel like they needed to do much more than they have. The little things they've added, I don't think they're enough. But let me know what you think in the comments below. What you think about Ghost of Yōtei. Anyway, till next time.